All right, looks like we're live. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Paul T. Thanks again for checking out the DSLR Chronicles. Today, I have a very special guest, another Houston filmmaker. I've invited her on the channel to talk to her about her latest film, as well as her experience as working as a independent filmmaker in Houston, Texas, as well. So, everyone, please say hello to Victoria Kraus, and forgive me if I pronounced your last name wrong.
That's okay. Kraus sounds really good to me. It's very German, so Kraus, Cross, whatever.
Kraus. Got you.
Hello,
Okay.
everybody.
Okay, cool. So yeah, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. So if you could, we can do that all over again. Could you start with your name and tell us where you're originally from and
Sure.
where you currently are right now?
Okay. My name is Victoria Kraus, and I'm, of course, originally born and raised in Houston, Texas. I love Texas. And I'm right now in my office at my house. Being a filmmaker, I kind of have to do a lot of independent work from home. So
Sounds good. So how long have you been active in filmmaking?
I've been actually acting since I was 7 years old, and I've been on the filmmaking side for a few years.
And kind of tell us what kind of inspired you to get into filmmaking. And I guess you said you're an actor as well. So I guess you can kind of tell us what kind of got you into both of them, acting, and what kind of inspired you to get into acting, and then what inspired you to get into filmmaking itself.
So honestly, I feel like it's kind of one of those things in the acting world, especially for like independent filmmakers. If you're wanting to do a lot of acting, you kind of need to be in a lot more films, right? So the idea is if I was in acting, I figured, you could make a lot of money actually behind the camera. And there's a lot of job openings, and I really wanted to just nonstop be in film. So what I did was I just kind of found some PA work and started getting behind the camera. And I realized the more that I learned behind the camera, it would just be a little bit better for me as an actor, just knowing cameras, knowing sound. It just only makes my craft better. So let's see, I guess I was inspired to be a filmmaker. I think that's probably what it was more about, is just because from acting, that's kind of where it kind of stemmed from. So I just got really interested, and then I just kind of found out there's a lot of really creative people behind the camera that I feel really good about the directors and writers, and that's something that's kind of really inspired me more too as far as filmmaking.
Okay, and yeah, let's kind of talk about that, because whenever we were talking on the phone and stuff, we talked about the fact that you also write as well, and we kind of just talked about, if you always have something to write, then you always have something to act in, you always have something to direct. So
Right.
From that standpoint, what would you say one of your main focuses is? Is it mostly acting, or is it just a combination of all three? Because myself, I screenwrite and direct, but I just happen to have to be able to produce and edit as well. So
Right. Okay.
there's really no separating those two from me, because again, if I can write something, I always have something to shoot. So.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I would probably say my main focus area, I would say a writer. I think writing is probably my number one thing. Writing, I love to do that. I would also say I love to direct. I can't help it. I feel like there's a little bossiness in it, and I kind of like the fact of just being able to have that creative aspect and see everything, and kind of just be able to see it come together. So I think writing, directing, and acting, I always try to throw myself in there if I can, do a little acting. I still love very much to act, but I feel like right now I kind of want to stick with writing and directing. So.
Okay, and then you also your latest film, you acted in that as well.
Yes, I did. Yes, it's called The Wall App, and I did some acting, and actually got to was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, and I won Best Supporting Actress. So that just kind of re-inspired me to start getting back into acting a little bit more than I was. So it was very much an honor. There was a lot of really good people in it, and a lot of good acting. So.
Cool. Well, yeah, congratulations on that. So if you are able to tell us, could you tell us the camera that you used to shoot that short film? Or
Yes. No,
I
I
don't know
can
if it was a
definitely.
short or a feature, but
So it's a short film,
okay.
and it's a really it's about a nine minute length film, and that film was shot with a Panasonic GH4. And I absolutely did not do any of the camera work. Crystal Bolden did, and Rick Mendoza. And Crystal did a lot of the main camera work. And when we talked about it, why she wanted to use that specific camera, she said she liked it because you can control the image you want a lot more with that camera. So that's just kind of her take on why that one was used, and I kind of agree with her on that as well. I liked working with it as well too. So I feel like it was really easy for me to kind of see what I wanted to see, and for editing sake too. So
Right. And again, my channel is about DSLRs. So someone actually asked a question earlier today on my channel about why we didn't use a Blackmagic or any cinema cameras, and I was kind of like, well, you kind of just do what you can afford, and
right,
really,
right,
the money that you spend just on getting the camera itself, I mean, is a lot. So, I mean, you still have to use all your other money for everything else. So I use my Canon T6i and it works perfect for what I'm doing. So
nice, nice. I was going to ask you about that too. Whenever I saw one of your films that had the latest film that you had come out with called Trickle Down Autonomy. Am I saying that right?
Right, right.
Yeah, I noticed that you had used the Canon. It's the Canon T6, the Canon
Canon
T6
T6i, Canon T6i.
Sorry, T6i. Yeah. So I was going to ask you what the reason was for you were using that one specifically. So that was kind of one of my questions.
Okay, well, yeah, I can go ahead and answer that right now. Well, basically, I wanted a camera that shot 1080p and HD 1080p, and I wanted something that would give you kind of that cinema look, but without having to spend a ton of money, because it's
Yeah.
very easy for people to get wrapped up into what we call camera lust, where
Okay. Yeah.
only if I have this red epic camera, then my stuff can look like this.
Right.
But again, it's really about the story. If
Right.
that's why I was just wanting to get a camera that looked really good and could do the job as far as passing for like a film look, all that stuff. And I would just concentrate on the story. So I
Okay.
didn't want to get wrapped up in like spending a lot of money on because even if you buy like a red like Raven, like what they call the brain, that's just that, and it's like thousands of bucks, and then you still need to get like the battery for it and
Right.
lenses and
All the accessories.
right,
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
it's like that money I could use to. And when I was getting started, I was like, well, I need a tripod, I need a microphone, I need
Mhm.
some lights, so I
Yeah.
kind of backed into my budget like that. So, and I did a lot of searching around, and Canon T6i, I really did it. So, and
I hear what
I
you're
spent a
saying.
lot of time like on YouTube, just kind of looking at the image quality and things like that as just sample videos of other people who had Canon T6i's and what they were, shooting and putting on YouTube. I was like, yeah, this is going to work perfect. So,
Okay. Cool. I hear what you're saying too, as far as like, what's important. So basically, if you have a really good eye for it, you have a really good story. And I feel like sound too. I feel like sound, is one of those things that you just can't shins out on. It's like if you have good sound stuff, then I feel like you got a pretty good production there already going. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
right. And then to that point, so I ended up winning a Platinum Remy at World
Nice,
Fest Houston International Film Festival.
nice,
So,
good job,
right,
congratulations.
right, yeah. So I mean, I appreciate it, but I'm just saying, like, it just kind of goes to, what we're saying is that camera is fine, but concentrate on your story. That's what's going to really hook
Right,
the audience, and that's what
right,
they're coming to see. So,
right, definitely. Cool,
so
thanks.
yeah, again about your film, I want to ask you. So what were some of the challenges of making your short film, as far as like locations and getting crew together, and the equipment you were going to use, things like that?
Okay. Those are really good questions. I would honestly say that we did a lot of outside shots. So with this film specifically, it was for a film race called called the Zone Sci-Fi fan film race. It's here in Houston, and it's a great film race. I have to go ahead and give a shout out to the film race. It's a great film race. I feel like it's really well done, and so I really appreciated it. Just another outlet that we can use for filmmakers, just to be able to kind of get our geekiness out, and also, you know, make us better filmmakers. So but as far as the film race, we had a week to do the shooting, the shots that we needed to get. So it was very constricted. There was I did scouting kind of in the idea of what I wanted and the looks that I wanted, but it's just, you know, whenever you're kind of playing with a short period of time, you kind of have to just roll with it. So we kind of did that, and one of the outside shots that we had to do was the police academy was training in the parking lot. So it was sirens nonstop, and it was just so loud. And I'm like, as soon as we catch a break, it starts raining. So I think the outside elements and the sound was definitely the most challenging. And we were really blessed to have some of the greatest actors to work with, because they were just like, you know, they're just rolling with it and getting rained on. And they were good troopers, and I appreciated having them. So.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because on the first shoot of my short film, Trickle Down Autonomy, with the two main actresses, so we shot it at Herman Park and kind of ran into some of the same challenges where you had so you're close to the medical center, you've got helicopters flying over,
right?
Airplanes going to land at Hobby.
Yes, we had that too. We had airplanes. I forgot to mention airplanes. Yes.
And then at one point in time, someone started a Zumba class out there. I was like, oh God. So, yeah, you know, and I even did a video about, you know, trying to shoot indoors as much as possible. But, you know, we talked that you don't want all your stuff shot indoors, because it's just going to all look the same. You won't have any variety, but.
Right. So you got some good B-roll then, right? You got some good B-roll with the Zumba class.
Right. So, yeah, going forward, I mean, I'm probably going to have to try to network with like a sound mixer or something, yes. Somebody who can kind of isolate the vocals and get rid of all that background noise, you know?
Yes, I agree with that. I you know what, I'm right there with you. I think that's one of the biggest challenges is sound, especially when you're shooting outdoors. So I'm right there. Okay,
cool. So aside from, I'm sorry, I forget the name of the place where you said this was taking place at. Did you screen it at any other festivals?
Yes, actually, it was screened at Comic Palooza. It's kind of a big, you know, Comic-Con sort of like idea. I say Comic-Con, probably shouldn't. Let me re-say that. So basically, it was screened at Comic Palooza, and that was held here this past couple weekends ago, and we were able to go there, and it was really great. Everybody's even though the ones that didn't get nominated, everybody's films got to be screened, so anybody that was there could go see them. So I thought that was really great, and there's a lot of footwork there, so people could go see it. So
cool. And tell us kind of what you did to like promote the film and get the word out, things like that.
Okay.
Because you know, with social media and things like that, we've got a lot more outlets to let people know what's going on with our stuff. But kind of give my audience an idea of your method for getting the word out about your film.
Okay. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I feel like everybody's got really good concepts, and it's really hard to kind of find out what outlets that we need to kind of use as independent filmmakers. So one of the things that I used was really, I just kind of got it on Facebook. I got it on IMDB. We've got it on our production company's website. I've got it on my page, my victoriakraus.com webpage. And I really feel like what I've been doing is I made a lot of contacts, and I've been doing a lot of, I think it's very important for you to kind of make a lot of contacts in this industry. I like to call it a pipeline, just building your pipeline, building a lot of good rapport with a lot of other people, and just basically getting it out there to make sure who needs to see it. So I've been emailing and personalized. That's what I do. I like to personally email people. So because it wasn't a zone sci-fi race, sci-fi fan film race, I wasn't able to kind of release the footage. So it's just recently only been out there for 2 weeks now. So I'm just slowly kind of sending out those emails and getting everybody to kind of, you know, go view it and really kind of get some feedback on it and kind of get that out there. So that's one of the things I've been doing, definitely.
So let's talk about that for a minute. So it's interesting you said that. So the festival that you sent it to, did they have the stipulations to where that you could not have had it premiere anywhere else until they've actually shown it?
Yes, from my knowledge, that is correct. Yes, we could do like a small little like excerpt of it if someone wanted a demo reel, or if we wanted to kind of show a trailer of it. But other than that, it was, you know, still being seen, and since it was in competition, we couldn't release it. So you can actually list stuff too. This is something I kind of learned recently, because I haven't really listed a bunch of stuff on there before. But IMDB allows you to go ahead and list stuff on there. So you can go ahead and get people credit on there. I think that's really important for a lot of your actors and crew, for them to get that recognition. I know a lot of people have IMDb sites, and it's kind of a very professional way of showing your stuff. So even if it's in production or if it's in a race, it allows you to go ahead and post that stuff up there without, you know, jeopardizing, you know, if you guys are in a race or anything, without jeopardizing anything for you guys or eliminating yourself. So that was cool. I was able to kind of get some stuff up there while they're still in a film race. So.
Right. Yeah, no, I use that myself. Even, you know, I'll go through all the phases. Even if I come up with a project, on IMDb, I'll put it up and I'll say it's announced. And then,
Nice.
you know, when I move to the pre-production stage, I'll flip it to that. When we're shooting, I flip it to production and then post. But yeah, I only mentioned that part because that's kind of one of the things that one of my gripes about film festivals is that, you know, like for me, if I make a film, I want to be able to put it out there and let people see it right away.
Right.
I don't want to necessarily sit on it for 3 to 6 months.
Yes.
Pay my money and then find out down the line that, oh, we're not even going to screen your thing here. So, and then, you know, all the while everybody's asking, man, where's that film that you were promoting all the time and stuff? Like, so, but yeah, that's kind of the, you know.
Yeah, I promise you'll see it soon. It's coming out.
Right.
I know you're talking about. It's kind of one of those things where it's like you just have to constantly be going, I guess, for the film races. I don't know. This is how I feel too. This is kind of new for me because this is the second film race that I've been in. But I feel like, you know, it's kind of a deal. It's very difficult when you're in a film race because some of them too, like, I don't really know if they even like allow certain budgets, you know, like you have to have like a specific budget or you can't go over, you can't, I mean, I'm sure we're not all making tons of money right now just yet. But the thing is that, you know, you've got a specific small amount of budget that you need to go ahead and work with. And so it kind of feels like to me, whenever you have those awards, it's kind of a big deal because that's what they're about. You know, you're kind of seeing who else has what out there and you're pushing yourself. So I feel like that is kind of, that's kind of the basis of what you're doing it for. I feel like a lot of people, so when you get those awards, I feel like it's kind of one of those things where you're just like, man, I feel really good about this, but it did take so long for me to be able to get that. So when you have it, it's kind of like, hey guys, a couple months later, I got an award.
Right.
So, I mean, it is really cool though, because that is kind of, I feel like for me, at least a little bit of the stipulation of kind of waiting for, you know, if there was something kind of out of that you're able to kind of get out of that. I mean, there's a lot of other things you can get out of it, but as far as like financial investment that you're putting in there, you know, you kind of want to see something out of it. So.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this film race. So tell us what that was like, because I've never done a film race. I probably won't. And it's not anything, a knock against it. It's just that just me, I'm just too much of a perfectionist.
Okay.
So like I wouldn't want to be rushing on the story, but could you tell us exactly how a film race goes down and the timeline that you have and the requirements?
Okay. So basically, honestly, first of all, I had a really good experience. Again, I feel like because it was a sci-fi zone film race, I felt like that was my atmosphere. I'm huge in sci-fi. I love it. That's like my only nerd side. That and like Marvel, like that's it. That's where it comes out. So I was really excited that there was like even an opportunity to write something and really kind of put something out there as my idea concept. So that was really great. But I would probably say, as far as the reason I think that it's great, and I love it, is when you have a film race and you have a competition, you're kind of pressed for time. And I feel like as an actual like professional, I think that if you can get a story and a concept down in a short amount of time, that just makes I feel like that just makes you a little bit more valuable to the to the film industry later on.
How much time did they give you to come up with your story and shoot your film?
A week. So you have to actually write it, and you have to film it, and you have to edit it. And we did sci-fi, so there was, of course, a lot of special effects done in there as well, which took hours and hours and hours. And that was all Rick Mendoza for that. And then you have to do editing, which was like hours and hours, I'm sure. So I didn't do any of that. I'm really blessed to have a really good team. But yeah, I mean, that's where I think the time comes in, is the editing, and special effects on that was really difficult. And of course, I don't know if I said this, but making sure you have a really good cast. So you got to have.
Yeah, no. So here's my question too. Now,
Okay.
Did you have all these people in place prior to actually starting the race?
So yes, kind of, sort of. So I'm gonna totally give a spoiler alert. I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble, but so we
Don't do it if you don't do it if you think you're gonna
no,
later
it's
on.
okay. But so anyways, it's kind of funny. So, but we basically had kind of like a cast that we already kind of knew that we wanted to use. The night that we got the film race, there was a couple of stipulations. So they give you a couple things, like you need to say a line. You need to have like a specific, I think it was like they need to have a specific kind of like career. So there needed to be a mercenary. So that was kind of thrown at us last minute. So we didn't have anything like as the concept, because we have a concept already kind of developed, but nothing written. So that's kind of hard. I think that was the hardest thing. So as soon as we got, you know, like the stuff, the go ahead, we were writing probably like that night to like, I don't know. So we started like maybe 8, 9 o'clock. We didn't end up finishing till like 2 a.m. So we were committed at making this happen. The next day we started filming. So we were just like, boom, 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 let's get it done. We can sleep later, right? We're in the industry. That's what they do on set. You know, it's like work really hard and you get it done. It's just, you know, you just got to kind of power through it. So anyway, so what I was going to say is the cast that we had is they're kind of, you know, some people that we like and we just want to keep around and they like working with us. I feel like if you create a very positive environment and you have a very good professional environment, that people want to continue to work with you. I think it makes sense, but somehow a lot of people don't understand that. So I'm just saying that for anybody else, you know, guys, hey, you want to keep working with great people. You want them to work with you. So we have a good cast of people that we can kind of just call up, but there's a couple things in there that we weren't really expecting. So because we had to add a mercenary, we had to have a reason. So we needed a reporter, and we kept getting canceled on. So it was like one person had like car trouble, and I really wanted a female reporter because I just pictured a really cute woman, you know, reporting in her, you know, skirt, and she just looked really professional, and it just wasn't happening. So one of the guys was like, hey, I've got a guy that can do it. And I was like, you know what? I'll take whatever I can get right now. That'd be great. And he came up there, but his girlfriend actually steps out of the car and she's like, exactly what I'm looking for. Exactly. And I'm kind of like,
nice.
Ooh, I don't want to be awful, but can I use her? And they were so amazing. Like, I just feel like I was being like looked down on because it was just so perfect. So she was like, he goes, oh yeah, she's wanted to be a news reporter. She knows the lines. I was like, yeah, this would be more perfect. So I just feel like it just really worked out really well. We had a lot of grace on this. I can't, you know, I can't take some of this credit, but it just worked out really well. So it is very difficult, and I feel like that can actually kind of mess you up too if, you know, you have to wait on people, because that is kind of the basis. You got to have people to tell your story. So unfortunately for us, it worked out, but that can be bad. It could have been bad.
Cool. And I just want to quickly comment on what you said about, you know, having some people around that you kind of use a lot. Tarantino does that. You know, he uses Samuel Jackson a lot. He uses, you know, other actors. And I've seen some other Houston filmmakers doing that as well. Mm-hmm. And I like to do that as well. There's a couple people that I've used in other short films that I brought them back for the next one.
Nice.
And then, you know, I've got people from the last one that I'll probably use going forward. But I say all that, but anybody watching who's like an actor and actress, don't get discouraged, because, you know, I still, you know, plan to use other actors and actresses. But kind of with what Victoria's talking about, you know, just given the nature of what we do, like, you know, with a lot of with a lot of unpredictability, like how you talked about with the news reporter you need and stuff, is if you know somebody that you work with and you know their work ethic and you know they're going to show up on time and you already know how, then it's kind of just a safe play, so.
Exactly. That is exactly what I was gonna build on that too and say that's basically what it is. If you have an actor that wants to really be able to work with you on stuff, they're not asking a million questions, they're really respectful of you and your time, and they're somebody you can count on, and they know their lines and they're ready to go, I'll call you back every day. Like if you're a great actor and you bust your butt, I will work with you every day because you're going to be amazing and I want to work with you. So, I feel like that's kind of the basis, and we just have really good people. Again, these people were working with the elements. They were complaining. I was like, guys, I'll call you back every time if I can, I mean,
right.
But here's my other thing too, and what you said is I feel like there's always a specific person for a role. So, you might not look like somebody and someone might not, talk a specific way, but there's like a perfect role for you that I might need you for, and no one else can fill that role. So I feel like there's so many things in writing, and scripts and stories that people are always needed for. So I can't always use my actors, even though I love them, because they might not fit the role, but if I can't work with them, I will. So.
Right. And then real quickly, I want to ask you, do you have any other plans for your film that you just shot? Like, do you plan on submitting it to other film festivals?
That's a good question. I'm actually currently looking into that to see if I can go ahead and start submitting it to other film festivals. That is something I want to do. I feel really good about it. I like the concept. I also kind of might want to build on it more and see if I can maybe make it into something bigger, maybe a feature, building from the short. The short's kind of fun, and I really liked it, but I feel like it's a good concept and it's something that can be built on. So that's kind of also another idea.
Cool. So tell us where people can go see it. And then, once we're done, I'll definitely get the link from you and put it in the description box so that people can go check it out. Okay. But let us know where people can go watch this short film.
Okay, well, I'm always going to direct you guys. You can go to check out my website. It's Victoria Kraus, that's KRAUS.com, or you can check it out at my production company. I'm with Station Cross. And that's 2 S's, so station and then CROSS.com. And if you guys love it, go on Facebook and like it. It would be under the Wall app. It's actually the Wall application on Facebook. And on IMDB, you can look it up. You got to type it in and enter it. And then, hit those stars. You guys, if y'all know about that, we'd love to see your ratings on there too if you love it. I'd love some good ratings. I'd love to, get the word out and see what you guys think too. So
cool. And again, we'll get the links from you so that people can easily find exactly where to go and things like that. Definitely. So I guess we'll go ahead and progress further. So tell me, what is your ultimate goal in filmmaking? Is it Hollywood? Is it TV? Is it just YouTube?
I start slouching when I talk.
Right, same here. I have to remind myself to kind of stuff like that. So
I get shorter. Actually, that's a good question. Here's how I feel right now. I feel like everybody's kind of excited about going to Hollywood and filming out there. I feel like my ultimate goal is to promote positive and creative stories. I think that if you're a really good storyteller, if you have a really good production quality, I don't think it really matters where you are. So honestly, I just kind of want to just create my craft to be a little bit stronger. I want to go ahead and just be able to get a good story out there. If people love it, awesome. That's just what I want to do. I just want to tell stories, and if people love it, that's great. That's kind of where I want to go. My main goal though is just to kind of get more positivity out there. I feel like there's just a lot of things that I watch and it's just kind of like, I feel like this is uncreative and I feel like I've heard this story before. So just kind of getting new concepts out there that has a little bit more of a positive message, or just something you can, maybe turn on and not feel like awful watching. That's kind of my main goal. So.
Right. Cool. So, Tell me, are there any artists or producers or directors or actors, anybody that gives you your inspiration or that you take inspiration from?
That is a good question. I would definitely say that I think whenever I kind of think about writing and I kind of when I'm getting inspired by, I think of like a specific movie. That's kind of what I guess what I took from that would be this is gonna sound cheesy maybe, but The Matrix, I loved it, and I kind of feel like I like the concept of the fact that they kind of did something very original with their ideas, and it was new, and there was something you could never guess. So I feel like kind of having that like awe-inspiring story kind of really inspires me to kind of have a little bit higher standard of like what I'm writing. I also am a huge Guy Ritchie fan, so his films are amazing. I can't not quote every single film that he has done. I love how he just writes it. I love the feel. I'm also really big onto scores. I think that music is very important with filmmaking. I haven't been able to put a whole lot of scoring in our films just now, but that is definitely not. That's not going to continue. I'm gonna definitely be putting some sound and some good music in there because it makes a huge difference, a huge impact on like, you know, feeling and going through, you know, specific emotions. And so I guess that's pretty much it.
Cool. And he made The Heist, right? With Brad Pitt and where Brad Pitt was the gypsy. And no, it was called, it wasn't called The Heist. It was called
Are you talking about Snatch?
Yes, that's what it was.
Okay.
I love that movie. Right, when they were in like England, they were,
Brad Pitt.
right.
Yeah, I feel like that was like the first American one that kind of people saw because of Brad Pitt, and that is a good one. I don't want to take it, but I love Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels the most.
Okay, I saw that one too. Yeah.
So. And I like how it's all in reverse, you know, kind of like the story concept. So it kind of keeps you like on your toes. You're not just like kind of expecting stuff to happen. You just don't know. And I like that story. And I also love this. I loved Get Out recently. I was obsessed with the movie Get Out.
Oh,
if you
really?
haven't seen it, you have to see it. Have you?
Yeah, I saw it.
It's great. I love the subliminal. I love all the subliminal type of like messages. That's like my absolute favorite, when people kind of put some stuff under there and it makes you like extra think or notice it. I feel like that really is more creative than you think, because you have to like put so much more energy, because you're not just putting energy in the story, but you're like putting this extra energy into like all this extra thought process. It's like almost like an inside joke. So I really appreciated it. I thought it was pretty good.
Right. And then the one thing I thought that was really interesting about that movie is that I think his name is Jordan Peele. You know, he's a comedian, right? Everybody knows him for comedy and stuff. And then he does this, and it's like, so that's one good way to not get typecast into something. You know, if you want to try to break out of that, that's a very good way to just kind of like do something that people are totally not expecting. So
yes, definitely.
So yeah, let me ask you, what advice would you give to someone looking to get started in filmmaking?
That's a good question. Honestly, I would just encourage them to start kind of just like I did, just did a production assistant, really kind of finding out, getting involved in different areas and finding out exactly where I wanted to be. There's so many different things that you can do behind the scenes. There's so many things you can do in front of the camera. I feel like the more contacts you make, the more people you know, the more people you come in contact with, and keeping a really good positive, no negativity, no complaining, but just keeping a really good positive, you know, demeanor. People really want to work with you. They really want to help you out. You know, if they like you and they want to work with you because you have a good work ethic, then, I mean, it really helps you out. So I would say, you know, that's probably somewhere where I started. You know, just networking. That's probably one of the other things I would say. Just getting involved with local places that you can here in Houston or wherever you're at. Networking is really good. It's very important. There's so many things you can do. There's so many apps out there that link you up to groups for what you love. So
awesome. So that's about the end of the list of questions I had for you. If you want to drop your social handles and tell people where they can find you. And then I believe you had some questions for me. So
I do. I was going to ask you about your film too. So I was curious to know what was some of the inspiration behind the story that you had for Trickle Down Autonomy.
To be honest with you, I like that like whole spy and like crime drama genre.
Okay.
Like Homeland is one of my favorite shows right now that I'm currently watching. One of my favorite spy movies is Spy Games with
Oh, okay.
Brad Pitt and Robert Redford.
Right.
Right,
Yes,
right.
I'm a huge Robert Redford fan.
Yeah, and
That's
then so
awesome.
right, and so the film that I made prior to that was called Three Jakes and a Narco, and I kind of wanted to just kind of stay within that genre.
Okay.
And I literally just thought of some stuff. I was like, just sat down one day and say, what if this happens and this? And honestly, it only really involved like two characters at first, and
Okay.
then it expanded to having some B-roll with the other guy. And
Okay.
then that last scene where you saw Orlando and Roman McPherson, I actually wrote Roman's character in because he did a online audition for me. Like, well, he recorded some monologues that I selected,
Okay.
and he sent it in. And I kind of had already selected Orlando for the role of that guy Diego Torres. I was like, this guy did really, really good. So I literally wrote in Roman's part for that Congressman Will's character. So it ended up expanding more than what it did.
Right.
And often a lot of the stuff that I write, it turns out that way. So
Nice. Nice. Well, they were really good. They were really good actors. So I feel like you cast really well. That was my next question is, where did you find your cast, and are they local or?
right, yeah. So well, some of them were local. So
Okay.
a little bit after we finished the film, I found out that Erin Wasman, the redhead, she moved to New York City.
Okay.
And Charisma, the lead character, the black chick, she moved to LA. So,
Oh, wow.
right,
Wow.
yeah. So, and again, like I say, hats off to both of them. But yeah, both of them were in Houston at the time that I cast, and I
Okay.
believe. So what happened was, I posted a lot of casting calls in Facebook groups, but I believe a majority of my casting folks came from the Houston Film Industry Meetup group.
Okay. Yeah.
Because what I'll do is I'll send the casting call to Norman, and Norman will post it, and it'll go out.
Good old Norman. We love you, Norman.
Right. And I've told him that in person. I was like, man, I appreciate it very much that time that me and you saw each other at the meetup that time.
Yeah, networking, guys, networking. See?
Right. And then they were the ones that turned me on to, I believe it's called, I forget the name of it, but there's a thing that actors use, and then there's it's not casting book. I forget the casting breakdown services or something like that.
Okay.
So if you have a casting, and if it's gonna be a paid casting, then breakdown services will you can use them. Right, yeah. And that's tied to something that actors and actresses do. I forget the name of it, but they pay membership for that as well. But they turned me on to that one. I was like, okay, well, next time I do casting, I'm gonna have to check that out because again, like I said, the Facebook groups are good as well, but I feel that most of my traffic has not come from there,
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I feel like Facebook, no offense, but I feel like Facebook is probably the last place I want to go. I feel like people don't take it as serious, and it just doesn't seem as professional.
Yeah, it just seems like a passive experience. It's kind of like, somebody will post a casting call and somebody will like click thumbs up, but it's like,
I like it.
Right.
Do you like it enough to respond?
Right. So, maybe that'll change, but again, I just think that the majority of my traffic came from the Houston Film Industry Meetup group, and then people that found it elsewhere. And what happens is, and I don't have control over this, but other people like see the casting, and they'll they'll take it and put it on their website, and I've even seen some instances where somebody it'll be like some kind of casting service where they try to get people to pay money. They'll take it and they'll put it behind like a paywall. They'll like have a little bit of and they'll be like, apply to this casting, and they want you to do a membership sign up. And I'm like, so you don't really have control over that. So
That's no good. I didn't even know that existed. That's awful. But I'm glad that you told me that. That's no good. I know there's a couple places that I've gone to. There's places that you can submit for at short films. So people are looking for like short films, and you can look up different states, and then it'll list it on there if it's paid or not paid.
Okay.
And then I know there's like a bunch of different stuff, you know, that people go to. So, but I feel like there's like, you know, specific places for us when we post it. So just curious.
Right, right. And again, and then as far as the casting process, so whenever I casted my first short film, when I got back into filmmaking, I rented like a conference room at a hotel.
Okay.
And it was kind of expensive, like $230, but you know, they had water in there and things like that. And
yeah,
it was a good location where people could just come and then do it and they go. And from that one that one audition thing, I found pretty much a majority of my actors for 2 films.
Okay.
But the thing was, there were a lot of people that didn't show up.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, well, there's got to be a better way to do this, because I'm paying all this money and then
right.
Who's to say someone else, you know, going forward whenever I do this,
right,
no one shows up. So
right.
I was like, and then I happened to stumble across a YouTube video where a guy was talking about how he was an actor in Canada, but he was getting all his work in the US because he would submit his auditions online. You know, he just uploaded to YouTube, set it to private, or he'd send it via Dropbox or something like that. And so I was like, yeah, let me try that out this time. And I was telling people that the main method I would use is that either send me a monologue that you had pre-recorded,
yes,
or send me a monologue based on the sides that I selected,
yes,
excuse me, or, you know, if the response is overwhelming, then I'll do something in person. And of course, more people lean toward sending me something they had already pre-recorded, or that they were going to record specifically for this.
Right.
And so I was telling the other people, which was like 2 or 3 of them, I was like, you know, mostly people are doing this. So if you're serious about auditioning, then record the monologue. And surprisingly, they were like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And they didn't. So what that told me was that they probably weren't even going to show up to the audition, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So,
you got to put an effort into it at least.
right. So
yeah, and I feel like that kind of also, you know, lets you know if you're not going to show up or if you're going to have a bad taste. It's really, I mean, even if, and here's my advice too, if you're working with somebody that, you know, it doesn't show up, it's hard for you, because I feel like you might have just burned a bridge too for like later on, because that's already kind of put a questionable taste. So guys, if unless there's like an emergency or something, make sure you at least respond. I would say respond to let people know before, in advance, maybe as far in advance as you can. That might be good, because I don't want anybody to burn any bridges that way.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll get some guidance from someone down the line, but usually no show, no call for me. I have a folder that's basically like, you know, that in my Google Gmail, that is, you know, these people, they didn't no show, no call. And it's like, if their stuff ever comes across my stuff again, I know not to even fool them, because there's too many other people who are hungry and want to do this to chasing after someone who like is kind of like just wasting your time. So
yeah, I completely agree with you. Yes, I do.
Like I may have missed out on the next Cameron Diaz or Jada Pinkett, but I'm like, let that be somebody else's headache, you know? So
do you like Cameron Diaz?
I threw that out there because the interview I did with Roman, I did an interview with him, and he was talking about, he mentioned Cameron Diaz. He was trying to say another person that he worked with.
Okay.
Cameron Diaz, and I was like, that's the first person that popped into my head. So, so
I was just curious. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna ask, so because this, you know, you were asking about the film race taking me, you're wanting to know like how long and how it works with the fact of like being in a race and how you have to kind of get this done very quickly. How long did it take you to kind of get this film done? And I was gonna also ask, I mean, was it kind of like, since you had a different time schedule, do you set a scheduled time, and how does that work, I guess, for?
Okay, so what happened with this one is it was around the holidays, so there was a lot of juggling around going on, but not as bad as like my other film. Whenever I shot it around Memorial Day, Three Jakes and a Narco, that was really bad. We were just juggling all over the place because it was around the time where graduations would happen as well.
Yes. Okay.
Right. So, but with this one, I would say after I wrote it and then got it locked in and everything like that, and I already kind of had my cast and crew because there's a lot of people that I worked with before, and then I got some new people this time around. But I would say it took as long as it. So we didn't finish it until maybe. So as far as the filming, I think we finished it the last weekend in December because we kind of had to break it up because some people weren't in town. But the thing with Aaron and Charisma, the two main characters, we had one table read, and then we had a couple weeks later we had the rehearsal.
Okay.
We actually went to the park and did that, and then like a week later we shot it.
Okay.
And there was like 3 or 4 weeks because of the holidays that we didn't get a chance to shoot the last little bit of it because some people were out of town and things like that.
Okay.
And so we decided to do it. I believe it was the 30th. So like a day before New Year's. It was like a Saturday or something like that. But then we shot all that in one day. But there was just like this 2 or 3 week gap before we actually did, shot the last little bit. But yeah, it didn't take long at all. And mostly because the actors that I used, they had a lot of experience. Like if you go check out Roman's profile, he's done a lot of stuff on IMDb. And Orlando had some experience as well. And Micaiah, she's worked on films and she's done other films that I've done as well. So I didn't need to rehearse them. It's just that whenever I write films, I tend to write a lot of dialogue. Because, these are short films. You're trying to tell a story in a short amount of time.
Right.
And I had a project that I did that didn't get released to where I was trying to work with them to get through it, but they could not. It was just too much. And I was telling them, I was like, treat this like a stage play, go home, rehearse it. And, so when you come, you'll be ready to go. But it was kind of bad. We were taping the script to the back of a chair and things like it was like had it under them, like, trying to, I was like, so that never got released at all. So the project
it makes a huge difference. Yeah, if you're reading it, you can tell there's no editing that. It's just you.
Right. So what I wanted to do, let me give you another pro tip though. So with this one, I specifically was looking for.
I have a dog in the back. Sorry.
Oh no, that's fine. I was specifically looking for actors and actresses with theater experience.
Okay.
And Aaron and Charisma had theater experience, and that was actually when I learned about the term of being off book. Because I asked them, say, what is that? And it's basically when you memorize the lines, you don't have to use a script. Okay. And they both memorized them. And what was also cool with them is that they actually took it upon themselves at the table read, say, hey, let's exchange contact information and rehearse our lines via Skype. So, literally when we came out there
they took initiative.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So whenever we came to shoot the thing, they were ready to go. They didn't look at the script once. And that was my thing. I needed to make sure I had some people who could, handle that amount of dialogue, so and they did perfect. So
yes, I totally agree.
Right. And then my thing is that, get the dialogue committed to memory so that you can just focus on how you're going to interact with the other actor.
Yeah, that's true. So you have that natural feel to it.
Right.
That's exactly how, honestly, that's exactly what you want. You want somebody that's so committed that they're doing it on their own. I feel like that's great. So it sounds like you got a really good cast of people there. That's awesome.
Right.
So where can people go and watch this then?
So yeah, of course, on this channel, the DSLR Chronicles. And again, I was able to update the cover for it because I won at Platinum Remy. So that was pretty cool. So now that when people actually see it, they can say, well, somebody thought this was, good enough to where they gave it an award. So it may be pretty good. Let me check it out. So that's where I have it at currently. It's also on Vimeo, but I don't promote a lot of the films that I put on Vimeo. It's more for so that Vimeo account is more for me whenever I want to submit to film festivals, because they don't take YouTube accounts, YouTube videos, or if on my website, if I'm going to so eventually I'm going to put up something to where it's kind of work with Paul T and show kind of my work and stuff like that. Vimeo does have a slight edge over YouTube as far as quality and things like that. So that stuff's over there. But again, I don't really promote the account at all. But yeah, if people want to go see it, mostly they can check it out on the DSLR Chronicles under my playlist for short films by Paul T and stuff like that.
Okay.
Cool,
Well,
cool.
I was also going to say, I didn't get a chance to tell everybody, but so obviously you guys know that it was in a race. So it was a 7. So keep in mind when you watch it, I feel very good about it, but it was 7 days that we had to do. We had to write, cast, film, edit with special effects. We had 7 days. We got nominated for Best Writing, Best VFX, Best Ensemble, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Director, and Best Film.
Oh, wow. That is awesome.
Yeah, so we did, I think we did good. I feel we did good. So that just made my heart happy when I heard so many nominations. I was like, yay. And then having such a great, you know, we had so many great people nominated for acting, which was great. I was really impressed with that too. We had good, I thought we had great people. So we won Best Supporting Actress and 3rd Best Overall for film. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
And congratulations, by the way, because again, you know, and some people, they, you know, someone made us a little snarky remark in the Facebook group the other day. They're like, everyone wins a Remy. And I was kind of like, I wasn't going to say nothing at first, but I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, so what did you win your Remy for and which film festival? And of course, that person never responded.
Okay.
You know, so I'm like, you know, I don't, you know, some people will try to like, you know,
take your joy out of stuff.
You know, like, you know, I don't want to say belittle, but, you know, make it seem like whatever, everybody gets that. But again, you beat out some people who actually submitted and didn't get to that point, you know? So, you know, yeah, it counts for something. So, you know, it's whatever though.
Well, I have something positive to say about World Fest. I went, again, I was really blessed to get some awesome passes. So I got to go as many days as I wanted to and not have to worry about paying. And I'm a very, very hard judge. I feel like my hardest critic is myself. I'm a very hard judge on different things. And I feel like the majority of the things that I saw there was very brilliantly done. So I don't think that they picked anybody there that didn't meet a specifically high standard of quality. So I appreciated what I saw as an audience, and I felt like there was some really good creative stuff that they had there, and there's nothing negative I could say. I would feel very honored to be able to have my stuff alongside of everybody else's that was there. So for anybody that has anything negative to say, I probably would think the same thing, like, so what have you done lately? And except for, you know, just being able to be negative on here, that's the easiest thing you can do. I mean, I feel like negativity is so easy. So
right, yeah, don't let anyone devalue your work, because I mean, you know, starting a film and actually completing it, that is something in itself. Not everybody can do that, you know. So
right, exactly, that is true too. I think people don't understand that. I've been around a lot of people that they put out stuff and it takes them a long time to actually get it done. And I mean, I hate to call people out, but I've definitely been on stuff where it's taken them years and they haven't even got it done. And I'm just like,
right,
we've got this 5-hour project done. We got this week-hour thing, you know, this week thing done. I mean, it just depends on like where your heart's at and how much time you put into it. And you just, you know, you got to keep the momentum going. But if you can do that, I mean, I feel like those are the true makings of someone that's going to be able to make it in the industry. Because if you can't put stuff out, no one can see it. You know, you could be a really good writer, but if no one hears it, you know, well, don't critique anybody else's work because you haven't put anything out. So.
Right. Cool. Well, again, I appreciate you coming by the channel and doing this interview. If you want to, or if you could, tell people where they can find you on social media if they want to follow you and just kind of see what you do behind the scenes and things like that. Like you have an Instagram or Twitter or...
I should know my Instagram, shouldn't I? Let me look at it. I feel like it's really easy. I'm on Instagram all the time too. It's my favorite. It's VC Kraus. So C as in Charlie. That's not my middle name, but it's VC Kraus. And so I'd love for you guys to follow me on Instagram. I'm a huge Instagrammer. I probably post the most photos and do the most social media on my Instagram. Facebook, I mean, you guys want to check me out on Facebook too, that's great.
Okay, yeah, again, I'll get those links from you and get the links to your film and things like that, and then we'll post those in the description box so people can check you out. So is there anything else you wanted to leave with as far as any closing words, anything like that?
No, I just wanted to say thanks for having me. I really love following the DSLR Chronicles. I think it's great information for anybody that's interested. There's so many things that you can learn. And I feel very blessed to be able to be on here talking with you today and just kind of, getting some feedback from you too on your stuff. It's always great to be able to kind of learn new things, and I'm sure there's some stuff that I'll take from this.
Well, I appreciate that. And again, thanks everyone for checking out the DSLR Chronicles, and thank you once again, Victoria, for stopping by. And so I'm sure we're going to be talking again soon because I got a project coming up, and I think we're going to be collaborating a bit on that. So
I should say something too. I forgot.
Right. So yeah, we've been talking about that whole location scouting thing and things like that. So.
Yes, and we also have another film that just got submitted for another race. I forget what it's called, and it's awful. But the name of the film is called Unarmed, and that I will definitely keep you updated. So if you guys just follow me or Paul, I'm sure you will probably find out what's going on with our next project. But I'm sure we've always got something going on. So I think you'll love Unarmed. It's really good. I just saw it, and it's very much a moving piece. Like I got a little emotional. Crystal Bolden is the director on that. I assisted her with that, and it's really powerful. So
cool. Well, yeah, we'll be on the lookout for that then.
Nice. Yes. Location scouting is also very important.
Right. Yeah. That's cool.
People have no idea. They don't even know. Well,
yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and just end right here. And I want to thank you guys again for checking out the DSLR Chronicles. Until the next video, I will see you then. Okay, bye.